All right guys, welcome to the back nine. If you missed the front nine, head over to my channel, but let's get started with the back nine. All right, first hole on the back nine, hole 10 is a 560 foot par 4. This hole goes straight and bends left off the tee, and it goes slopes down. There's trees right, trees left. So I'm really just trying to hit it's a low ceiling fairway. So I'm really just trying to crest the hill, but not go too far and penetrate straight into the trees that line the right-hand side. So I'm really just trying to throw straight, focus on speed control while hitting the gap with the rock. So I'm just throwing the rocks, that way I can really focus on hitting the gap and not worry about going too deep. So yeah, there's a little bit of low ceilings that I'm thinking about, but I'm just really trying to hit the initial gap with the right height. I'm not really worried about finishing too far left on this hole. I'm just really focused on going straight. And then if I go straight enough, then I'll have an upshot in and a good angle into the basket. So just focus on going straight. Obviously, I'm trying to finish a little left, but get a little left, a little bit. I'm fine with that. That is a little straight, but I'm totally fine with that. Yeah, like I said, I basically what I said, I wasn't too worried about going too straight. I'm fine, totally fine with that. I would take that every time. I'm gonna be a little pinched off with trees in the way. So I already know that, so I'm gonna have to do some kind of patent pending or straddle out, but this is such a hard hole that if you try and get too cute and try and cut it around the corner, you're gonna hit this tree and then you're gonna start risking bogey. And luckily my shot, the way I throw it, I either get in position, or if I go too straight, I can have an easy par, which I'm never really trying to play for par. But yeah, I'm gonna probably be in the bushes now that I think about it, unless I hit one of these guardian trees. I did go, so it's all about distance too. Yeah, I went too straight. So yeah, I'm gonna be pretty much burnt. Looks like I'm gonna just be chipping out, but yeah, there's that one cluster. I needed to finish a tiny little bit more left, but it's just so hard too with the way the hole shapes. All right, so basically I'm just thinking par right now after what I know I'm about to look at. Once I walk in there, it's gonna be nothing. Yeah. It's just gonna be, yeah, this is the type of hole to where if you don't hit the drive at all, then you're just literally chipping out. It's not the type of hole where you can just bomb it down there and then scrap from there, which on some holes that's what I do, and you'll see a lot of top players do. But this hole is not one of those holes. It's bomb it down there and you either land in the fairway or you don't. And if you don't, there's no scrambling. You just take your medicine and take a par. So I'm just gonna throw it just past this orange tape here. Just set myself up for an easy par, because this is not good. Yeah. So that's basically an easy par from there. As you can see, I didn't go left at all off the tee. I just went dead straight into this crap. I was really trying to go in that blue tape zone. Is my ideal shot, and I didn't miss it by much. I just didn't hyzer. I threw a good shot, just missed my angle tiny little bit, not even by much. And so yeah, I really like to be down in here, and that gives me a way better chance. So looks like I'm just gonna have to settle for par, unless I try and throw it in or something. All right, just throwing a peg here. This is pretty routine. I set myself up, pretty easy upshot. I don't want to jinx myself. I never take anything for granted. I still go through my routine. I still make sure I get it up there for an easy par. Yeah, I just park it right there. Sit. All right, yeah. Pretty easy par. Like I said, that hole is all about the tee shot, and I threw a good tee shot. I just throw good enough to get this angle right here. But yeah, a lot of people will go with driver to try and skip around the corner, but then you even skip too far left. So it's almost between a mid-range and a driver off the tee to really get in that perfect landing zone. But even when you throw a driver, you're bringing in a lot more trees right off the bat, off the tee, that you can't really see. And I don't want to do that. If that's the worst case scenario right there, just miss the drive by a little bit and just have a tap in par, then, I guess that's what's going to happen. Hole 11, 380 foot par 3. This is a dog leg to the right. I'm going with a sidearm. It's a really tight gap off the tee. You really want to make sure to penetrate as far as you can, hit the gap, and there's a little squiggle tree that's dark in the middle of the fairway. I'm trying to aim at that off the tee and then fade right in front of that and skip. And I'll probably end up, if I execute my shot, I'll probably end up being 30 feet to the right of the basket in the crap, putting back up. They get skippy up there. There's a lot of mulch. There's no grass to really stop. So just really trying to hit the gap, miss that tree down there, and skip up to the green. It's a little wide. It might get through, please. Yes. Wow, I'm happy with that. That was really good. So I threw it a little wide, so it's really hard to actually throw it that wide. There's the trees on the left of that big tree sneak up on you quick. And so I threw it just far enough to where I could get away with it. I missed my line of touch because I went left to that tree, but I hit my main goal by hitting the gap and just getting up there, because this hole can be, if you hit anything on this hole basically within the first 150, 200 feet, it's basically an automatic bogey. So that's what makes this hole so challenging. And then on top of that, like I pured it and it sounded like I actually hit a tree at the end of the flight, which I'm really happy with, because at the end of the flight, a lot of them like to skip and roll into the crap on the right, into the bushes, and gives you a really tough putt. So the fact that I hit a tree tells me that I stopped and didn't skip. Because as you can see, it's a pretty hard surface up here. This mulch, dirt, hard pack stuff. There's not much grass to stop it, and you have to throw a high-speed driver to be able to get the distance on this hole. And yeah, like I said, I got lucky. I know exactly what happened. I cut it close to these trees, and I hit those trees and stopped. To whereas normally I'm skipping, and I'm fine with skipping over here because it's hard. The speed and distance is hard to really get your disc to stop, based on the fact you have to throw a high-speed driver. So a lot of times I'll be putting from over there, which I'm fine with. I got really lucky. I hit these trees and probably just trickled over here. And this is a great drive. Yeah, most of my work was done on this hole. Just gotta go through the routine and hit the putt. Yeah, that's a really good birdie to get. It can be challenging. It can be a two-stroke swing hole on some people if you hit early. Like I said, hit early, automatic 4. So yeah, happy to pick that one up for sure. Hole 12 is a 1,050-foot par 5, the most iconic hole on the course. Very challenging and demanding hole. I'm gonna be throwing a rock off the tee. There's a bridge that you're going over on the second shot, which you'll see, but I'm trying to land my rock shot in the middle to try and set my second shot up over the bridge. But basically, I'm throwing through the gap and throwing a late drift rock that's gonna drift to the right of the trees that you're seeing straight and drifting into the landing zone. Landing zone's just past the cameraman, a little bit to the right. So I'm trying to drift just past him, carry as far as I can. I'm not worried about going too far because I'm throwing a mid-range. If you do go too far, you can end up in a downslope with not much of a shot. So trying to hit the gap and think about all those things. That looks a little bit right. That's gonna hit the gap and beat money though. A little right. I'm really happy with it. Drifted a tiny, probably 2 feet to the right, a little bit more than I wanted, but I'm overall happy with it. I'm gonna have a little cutoff angle, just a little bit, just from my feel and my muscle memory on this hole. I just was really focused on hitting the gap, so it's not really about the distance on this hole. I can throw my rock probably, I don't know, 425 on a, if I'm throwing them good. And I'm probably only through that like 400. So I'm just really focused on hitting this gap. Another off-centered gap, as you can see here, this overhanging tree is kind of what I'm aiming at with a little bit of ante. Just really trying to focus and commit on hitting that gap. So I'm gonna be a little pinched off on the right, but I'm gonna be in the fairway. I would like to turn and just kind of hyzer out at the very end, just a tiny bit, but I'm really pumped with this shot because this hole can go haywire real quick off the tee. And if it does, you're looking at a big number. Yeah, I must have hit something, honestly. Dang, that's a bummer. I'm a little more pinched off than I thought, which really sucks because I thought I was gonna be up there with the shot, but now I got a lot more trees to contest with than I thought. Yeah, this is gonna be a tough 4 from here. I'm gonna still attack and try and get the 4, but it's gonna be really hard to get up on top of the hill from where I'm at right there. A lot of trees to contest with, so I kind of know the shot that I have to throw right now. I'm gonna have to throw through those trees and really risk hitting them. I'm gonna hope I don't. but that's the only way I can get a 4. Yeah, I called it. I've drifted like 2 feet to the right, too much. So this is gonna be a make or break shot right now in my round. I'm gonna have to hit this gap. Let's focus on hitting this gap hard with a sidearm. I'm almost thinking I shouldn't even, because even if I do, I'm not gonna be able to get enough distance to give myself a really easy 4, which this hole is, it's almost like a par 6, honestly. Not quite, but so I'm gonna go for it. I'll show you guys. If this is a tournament, I'd probably just lay up, but it's a practice round. I'm going for it. So I just gotta hit this gap. This is a tight gap with a sidearm and just kind of penetrate. I hit it to drift a little bit right, but I'm happy with that. Yeah, got the hill. It's gonna be a tough second shot, or third shot, going up over the hill. The discs are gonna be uphill. And yeah, it's gonna be like, it's only like 200, 300 feet from there, but it plays like 400 because you're going straight up the hill. All right, here, let's see what I want. So I'm going uphill, so my disc choice is gonna be a slight bit more understable to fight the uphill. So I'm throwing a Firebird, but I'm throwing a beat up Firebird. And what I'm doing here is these 3 trees are kind of my aiming point. I'm gonna start it off at those and kind of drift to the left of them, throw in the gap, and then try and glide a little bit straight. And I know already my disc is gonna hyzer out into the woods, which I'm fine with, just because that's what's gonna happen. Coming off a slope like this, it's really hard. And so yeah, I'm gonna probably throw it high. I have to throw high because I have to get over the hill. So, get through. I didn't hear anything. I threw it too far left, but yeah, that was a tough shot. After that this first shot is so important. If you don't throw it perfect, you're pretty much dead for a 3 or 4. I mean, so I went on the left-hand side a little bit, but I should have a putt. I should be putting a little bit, maybe like an 80-footer for 4. Yeah, that's about what I have left. So it's makeable, maybe more like 100. But yeah, when you're throwing that far uphill, it's really hard to throw it straight without hyzering out. And I just overcorrected and turned it left just because I knew how gravity wants to fight against you normally on those kind of shots. So I got a little bit of a tree here. So I'm gonna straddle spin putt, so I can kind of take this little bush out of the way. All right. I'm just thinking about making this. This is a long putt. I don't care how deep I go. I'm just trying to make it. Too wide. Good run, but yeah. 5 on this hole is like I said, you're not losing strokes. If anything, you're going to gain strokes on more people because you can 6 it very easily. It's not like most par 5s you see us play where, you know, sometimes we're 3-ing it. This hole 4 is pretty much best case scenario because of the way it lays out. Most par 5s, we're bummed with a 5, but this one, I'm kind of happy with it. Hole 13, 650-foot par 4. This hole is pretty much dead straight. There's OB that lines left. So I'm really trying to favor the right-hand side of the fairway because the shots like to fade and kind of trickle back left. So really just trying to aim at that cameraman and with the rock and land flat so that way I don't roll. Yeah, that's exactly what I want right there. Yeah, I favored the right-hand side, took the left-hand side completely out of the equation. You'll see when we get up here, it's the land slopes to the left and the OB's left. So you hit with any angle, you're gonna trickle back right or back left OB. So I just play the right-hand side. That way, if I do trickle, I'm still safe. To where if you play center and you trickle left, you're OB. So this is a hole that you gotta pay attention to the slope on. And a lot of shots will actually, yeah, people just throw them straight into these bushes. Then you're basically scrambling for par, basically automatic bogey. The second shots, both the tee shot and the second shot are hard, but I'd say for me, the second shot's a little challenging. There's one tree for the sidearm that I'm throwing. I got to decide if I'm going left or right of it. So it's always what I'm thinking about in my head. There's the OB that juts out. If you hit that tree, you can go OB, which I'm not really thinking about that. So I might go right of that tree and just penetrate a straight peg into the green. So yeah, I'm just gonna throw a straight shot here. I'm going right of that tree in the center that you see, and there's a couple other trees up there. I'm just trying to hit the gap and get up there. Yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly what I want. Just gonna skip up to the green. Yeah, ideal. Don't roll. All right. Yeah, you can see the slope on this hole. Like I said, a lot of people will turn it and cut roll into the OB. So that's why I throw a mid-range to take that out of the way. Yeah, and the grass, if you hit the long grass, see you guys, thanks. Long grass up here is pretty sticky, so as long as you don't air it OB, you're not gonna roll too much as if you throw it this far. And this second shot is challenging. You really gotta pick left or right side of this tree. At my level, you can't, we're too good to aim at a tree, we'll hit it. But yeah, you'll see sometimes people hit that tree and bounce into the OB. So that's why I like to go right hand side of that tree. Take that completely out of the equation and not even think about that. But yeah, I'm basically have a gimme putt for birdie. That's I'm really happy with how I played that. Something where I feel like I can. It's repeatable. I can repeat that play pretty high percentage of the time. I had a weird straddle putt, but it's so close it doesn't matter. Yeah, so give me 3 after that first and second shot. Really happy. That hole can be challenging if you don't get off the tee. Hole 14, 330. Hole 14, 330 foot, par 3, downhill. You got a little Guardian wood boards short, and you really just focus on speed control for me. I'm throwing a pig, slow speed putter. I'm not really even trying to get on top of the wood. You see a lot of people do that and they'll slide and skip deep. I'm just trying to hit the wood or even fade to the right, and that leaves you 20 feet. I'm not really trying to park this hole just for that reason. A lot of people slide and skip deep and go 30, 40 feet and have a death putt coming back. I'm not trying to do that. So you'll see me, I might hit the boards or I might fade a little right and just be 20 or 25 feet away. I'm not really, I can park it in the pig. If I juice it a little bit, it could be parked, but I'm not really going for that. Threw it too short. Yeah, I just didn't throw it hard enough, but that line was what I was looking for. I just threw it too short. Got to juice it next time, but yeah. Just taking casual relief uphill. This is, like I said, we got a bad kick and roll. I'm still putting for birdie, but I definitely want this is a birdie hole normally, but. I couldn't really jump putt because I would have jump putted into the river, but so I couldn't really get that extra oomph on it to get it above the rim, but I hit the cage. Yeah, the drive was what messed me up. Hole 15, 320 foot par 3. OB runs short, left and long. There is a fence about 20 feet behind the basket, so I'm gonna be throwing a sidearm. I'm gonna be throwing the aggressive shot, and if I go deep, I know that there's a fence backstop there. If I'm on target, I can hit that and drop and still have a birdie putt. So it's really about hitting the initial gap at the right angle, and speed is not super important for me on this hole. I don't have to worry about throwing in perfect speed. I can throw it pretty hot and rely on hitting that fence and stopping. So you may see that. So this is a tough angle to hit, but I'm going for it. Oh, that's bad. I got super lucky on that. That was a total shank. I got an easy 3 now, but that was a really bad shot. Missed my angle, missed my shot. This OB right here is on the right-hand side, so I got super lucky to stay safe. This is a really high-risk shot, but yeah, you can get a good reward with the birdie if you pure it for sure. Yeah, I'm right between a pig and a firebird on this hole. Sometimes, depending on the situation, if it's windy or if the conditions are tough, I may lay up short here and just play for the 3. But today's pretty calm conditions and everything, and the green is really long grass, so you're not going to get a crazy skip or anything, so that's really good. But there is a lot of OB up there, as you can see, all those white stakes. If you don't basically pure it inside the circle, you're basically OB. So you see a lot of people for this hole trying to attack for the 2. And so the fact that I attacked for it and missed it and still am able to have a long chance for 2 here and and an easy 3. Oh, gave it a run. Like I said, after that tee shot, that was not great. So far on the back 9, I'm a little stale, I guess is a good word for it. Yeah, I haven't really strung together a bunch of birdies, but like I said, this is a great practice round. It's really fun to do this and give you guys some insight, share some knowledge, share what I'm thinking about on each hole, all the different variables. Yeah, you would never, I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't think about certain things that I'm thinking about, and maybe you can help yourself, help your practice round, help change your course management, help disc selection, and all the different reasons why I choose certain shots. So yeah, just tapping in par here, nothing special, but yeah, like I said, the tee shot was basically what ruined the birdie chance on that hole. But like I said, I'm not really too bummed with the par. So obviously some holes I am. This hole is lots of OB and can go haywire quick, and before you know it, you take a bogey, and that's a lost stroke, obviously. Hole 16, 1,040-foot par 5, OB short right, so I'm going to be throwing a high pig shot. I'm going to throw something not too fast because it's easy to penetrate too straight and have no shot. So I'm going to go just to the right of this tree that's sticking up out of the long grass and just hyzer just to the right, hyzer into the fairway, give myself a sidearm second shot to set up for the birdie. All I'm really focused on is getting around that tree and fading back left before I hit the tree line on the right-hand side, because if you throw a high-speed disc, it's easy to get there real quick and have no angle on the second shot. So throw it high over the grass, just over past that tree, and be in the fairway. That's pretty much it. It's going to be a little left, but I'm fine with that. Yeah, skipped a little left, but that doesn't bother me. I got a sidearm, so it can flex and step out. I like to favor the left-hand side for me because I can just throw a sidearm through the gap and be totally fine. So yeah, overall, I'm fine with that shot. So like I said, a little left, a little more than I wanted, but I can still salvage and get a 4. Once again, another par 5 that's not really threeable within reason unless you throw it in. So that's kind of challenging. You know, some par 5s, like I said on the last one, that you can kind of try and bomb down there with our distance and get a chance at a 3, but not this one. So yeah, I'm just thinking 4 on this hole because this hole can be challenging. The second shot is the toughest part about this hole. Yeah, I went left a little bit, but I basically know exactly where I'm at. I just got a little step out sidearm. So obviously I'm trying to land it here. So I landed about 20 feet, just a little bit too far left into there. But like I said, I'm fine with it. I know exactly what shot I have to throw, and it doesn't bother me too much. So I definitely favor the left-hand side a little bit on this hole on purpose, knowing that I can still salvage the shot and get myself in position for the 4, which is what I'm trying to get on this hole. Just trying to throw in front of that tee pad, give myself a look for a 4 on my 3rd. Yeah, that's perfect. Yes, I'm so happy with that. That was a great shot from where I was. So yeah, I had to downgrade to the pig, which leaves me a little further than I normally am on my 3rd shot coming into the basket, because normally I can come here and throw a destroyer through that gap, but I didn't have that luxury because I had a lot more trees, so just throwing a controlled pig, knowing that my 3rd shot's gonna be a little longer, which I'm okay with because it's wide open. It's gonna be about 350 feet to the basket, as opposed to normally I'm throwing pig on the tee shot, destroyer on the 2nd, and then a pig on the 3rd. Now I'm throwing probably a Firebird because I got out of position on the drive. Okay, actually a little further than I thought even. So this is gonna maybe have to be a destroyer on this 3rd shot, because like I said, I couldn't get as much distance through the gap. All right, so yeah, there's a lot of distance to carry. So shots like this, when I don't have a rangefinder, I've gotten really good over the years of gauging and guessing the distance, because obviously I don't know exactly how far this is. But certain things I do is I know that I normally land over in that shade area, and I'm about 100 feet from there. I throw my pigs about 250 when I'm throwing them, just on average. So I know I'm about 100 feet past that. So I'm about 350 to 400. probably closer to the 400 side. So and it's uphill with a side slope. So I'm gonna really play that side slope. I don't wanna go too far right. It's gonna skip far left, way too far right. So I'm gonna try and keep it below the basket on the left-hand side if I can. It's gonna be tough because I got this limb right here. So it's gonna be hard. I'm gonna have to flex it over and really just try and keep it left of the basket and have an uphill putt if I can. So that limb got in the way just a tiny little bit like I thought. I'm a little short, maybe a right roll up. So I misgauged it a little bit. That limb did come into play like I said. Hit it a little bit, cut a little distance off, but I did misgauge it a tiny bit. It was probably more like 430. So I threw it about 380. So I'm about 50 short if I had to guess. But yeah, that's just after that tee shot, that's why it makes it a little bit harder. But I did a good job about keeping it on the hill. Some people will try and throw it into the hill and sail it too far right, and then you're skipping way wide. So I like to use this slope on this hole, and the slope controls the skip, especially with the Destroyer coming in with a fast disc like that on the slope. You don't want to be getting too crazy and rolling, costing strokes. So yeah, holes like this, you got to pay attention to the slope. Use them to your advantage if you can. Oh no, I'm all right, sweet. I must have got a decent roll, so I'm about 30 feet short. I'm happy with that. After that tee shot, to get in this position, have this putt for birdie, yeah, I'm totally happy. And it looks like I'm gonna do a straddle putt. So I'll kind of go into detail about my strategy when I'm putting on hills. Is I like to straddle putt. So I'll step up here to my putt and show you guys what I'm talking about. When you regular putt, obviously my front foot's way above my back foot, so my shoulders are all off balance right now. But if I do this, my shoulders are a little bit more even with the basket, so it counteracts the hill a lot better if I straddle putt versus doing a regular putt. So I've noticed that lately. So I'm gonna catch my breath here. It's got a lot of uphill slope, so take a couple deep breaths and go with this straddle putt. So sweet. That was like a birdie save, I guess you would say, after being out of position on the drive. Birdie 4 on the par 5. It's a great score. Really happy with that. And gained a stroke probably on some people. That's the par 5s out here are really challenging. Some courses, par 5s for the top players we throw so far, it's like gimme birdies almost and potential eagle. This one is not a gimme birdie, and there's really not much of a chance for an eagle unless you throw it in, which is you're risking a lot. So this hole, really happy with a 4 on this. Hole 17, 330 foot par 3. This hole plays a lot longer. It plays more like 370, 380 with the uphill slope. Gravity's really fighting against you and your disc. A lot of people like to hyzer out. The disc just naturally do that. When you're going uphill, it runs out of speed a lot quicker. So really tight, narrow. If you hit any tree, it's gonna be challenging a bogey. So I'm really just trying to penetrate the gap hard and just get way up there as far as I can and give myself a look. So I'm really just thinking about hitting this initial gap with the right disc to where I can hyzer flip it to flat and fight the gravity. So I'm throwing a little more understable because I'm going uphill than I normally would on a straight shot like this. So yeah, I'm going with the T-bird, beat up. Oh, good kick. Wow, really good kick. That was super lucky. I think that made up for my hole 2 debacle. Of course, gave me one back there. So I pulled it a little bit, as you saw. I hit that bush, and I would have probably got a par if I didn't hit that tree and get a limb kick like that. But this hole is so hard to hit the gap because gravity. So you really gotta peer the gap to get up there. But I got lucky, bounced off this limb. I hit the initial gap, just turned it a little bit, and so I'm gonna sneak a putt out of this, probably 40, 50 foot short if I'm guessing right. But as you can see, pretty steep uphill, shooting through this tight, narrow gap. A lot of times people are getting up here with a driver or a mid-range and hyzering out left. Just because when you're shooting up with your nose up like that, your disc naturally wants to hyzer out. And so that's just natural. So you gotta fight that with your disc selection. Don't change your shot, just change your disc selection going uphill. So this one doesn't have enough uphill slope for me to change my stance into a straddle. So I'm just gonna still do a regular putt. It's uphill a little bit, Like I said, not enough to change my stance though. Oh, I shanked it. Dang it. I always like to capitalize on shots where you get a little lucky like that. I didn't that time, but it's always nice to kind of save a stroke after getting a good bounce or a good kick, because it doesn't happen too often, especially in really wooded tight courses like this. So I just got a par. Like I said, that's not a great score on that hole, but for as hard of a hole as it is, I'm not too disappointed. Now to the finishing hole, hole 18, 660 foot par 4. There's a dogleg right. There's the Christmas trees lining the right, and there's a bunch of tree line on the left. I'm really just trying to throw towards the cameraman, favor a little left. I'm throwing a fairway driver. I'm not really worried about distance on this hole. I'm just trying to throw it like 400 feet and right in the middle, even go left. Just don't go right. You're basically dead in there, no shot. So I'm just throwing right at the cameraman, nice and soft in the fairway, and give myself an easy chance for a 3. So yeah, that's all I want, nothing special. You throw a driver, then you start bringing that back wood line into play, and there's no reason for it because you're just throwing a chip shot to the basket from there. So it's kind of pointless to throw a driver. Yeah, this is a good hole. Like I said, you got to make sure you don't turn it to the right and bring the tree line in play. You'll see when we get up there, it really lines the right-hand side of the fairway. So if you throw your drive, pull it short right, you really can't get an angle for a 3. And so I'm just really making sure to favor left. It's a pretty wide open gap. This is a pretty high percentage birdie for the top level players. Pretty much just go fairway driver and then putter of some sorts. For me, it's going to be a pig, but it's just going to be pretty much a chip shot. I'm going to throw it inside 15 feet, 20 feet hopefully, and tap in for a birdie. And have a pretty clean back 9 so far. Had a couple pars on holes that I would like to birdie, but I didn't have any too big of hiccups like I did on the front 9 with that double. So I guess for that reason, I'm kind of overall happy. So it's been a good, successful practice round. I've learned a lot. I've shared a lot of knowledge with you guys about what goes through my mind and how I dissect a hole, how I choose a disc, how I incorporate wind, how I'm approaching the tee pad on some of the holes, and all the variables that are going through my head on each shot and what I'm thinking of. And I really hope you guys enjoy it, because it's been really fun just chatting and letting you guys into my mind. That's what this is all about. And so now you guys can kind of relate with me when I'm thinking about a shot and lining up a shot in a big tournament, and you can kind of know what I'm thinking. Oh, so that brings us up to these trees. I don't know if they're Christmas trees, but some sort of pine tree. I'm not a genius when it comes to identifying trees. But yeah, I'm just basically trying to avoid that. And the big reason that I throw my fairway driver is just so I don't bring in those trees. Not a lot of people, but sometimes when I'm practicing and I'm throwing a distance driver, I'm fading out and going into that crap, and there's just no reason for it, because you can see I'm pretty high percentage shot to land here, and gonna be a pretty routine shot up to the basket. It's a little uphill. Only thing for me really to worry about is just not go deep, because if you're going deep into those trees, you can get pretty skunked and have no putt out of there. So yeah, it's uphill, so it's gonna hyzer out a little bit. It's a slope, there's no skip, it's pretty long grass. So it's not really going anywhere. I'm just right where my disc goes is where it's gonna land. Nothing crazy is gonna happen. So it's just really going through the motions and just executing a shot to finish off the round with a birdie. So that's gonna be a little short, but it's still probably 10 feet, 20 feet, yeah. So right out of my hand, I can kind of tell I didn't really throw it as hard as I needed to get up that hill. But it's just a standstill shot. That's, like I said, to my standards, that was kind of bad, and I'm still 15 feet. So I'm not taking anything for granted, don't get me wrong, because you definitely want to end with a birdie and you want to execute the shots, but I'm just kind of letting you guys in what I'm thinking. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna execute. I put a lot of pressure on that shot just because I should be able to open, I should be able to throw a wide open 220 foot up shot and park it. Those trees do come into play if you get frisky and try and throw it in or something. Those trees can kind of come into play. So let's just tap in for birdie. And then So I'm pretty happy with that round. I had, like I said, biggest hiccup was hole 2. Had a double bogey. I think it might have been just a single bogey, depending on if it was a par 4 or 5. Previous years it's been a par 4, so I didn't keep track of my score, but we can add it up. I felt like maybe I shot 7 under, something like that, 6 under, which is pretty respectable round out here. I shot, I think, course record I think was 11 last time I played it for Worlds, which was a fire round, but 6, 7 under is solid. That's going to be, you know, the hot round maybe, if the whole field of top players are playing, maybe 8, 9. So it's right there. Like I said, those couple hiccups would probably be, this would, if I had to guess, it would probably be like a 1040 round. I'm usually good at guessing rounds. That was probably a 1040 rated round. Well, that's a good number. Missed a couple shots that I normally make, but it's right around average for me. All right, guys, thank you so much to Gatekeeper Media for lining up this mic'd up round. It's been a blast sharing some knowledge with you guys, letting you in on what's going through my head while I'm dissecting a tough course like this Northwood's Gold. Be sure to stay tuned, keep up with Gatekeeper Media, head over to my channel for the front 9 coverage, and thanks again.